Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining us today, Singapore national. He was at the Junior Pan Pacs. He was at the World Championships this summer. He was at the U.S. Nationals. He got second to Michael Andrew there in the 100 breast, dropping a 003. Today, we are talking to Nick Mahabir. How's it going, man?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being here, Nick. I'm really excited to get into a lot of different things with you. We had a poll on Instagram yesterday asking for questions, and so we've got some fun topics to cover. Yeah. But first off, I just want to get into your summer. Like I said, at U.S. Nationals in Irvine, you dropped a 003 in the 100 breast. I think you've dropped a lot of time in the 100 breast over the past year or so. Can you take me through this summer of meets for you and just kind of how that progression, especially in the 100 breast, has gone?
Yeah, for sure. So I think the first time I swam the 100 breast long course, in a long time, because I'll get to that later, but the first time I'd swim it was like a 106, and that was last year in April. Last year in April, I was 106. And then I got a little faster. I think I was like 104 by the end of that summer. And then I started training with Team Elite. Start off at 103. And then, so US Open was 103. And then I think I was at some pro series in Westmont. That was my first 102. And then I got really sick after that. And I was super worried because I was like, oh no, trials is coming up. Like, what am I going to do? And my parents were like, no, you need to take a break. Like, it's just going to be better for you in the long run. And I was like super bummed. I was like, okay. So I had like 10 days of training and then went to Mission Viejo. I think it was Smock. I had to get my 200 cut because I didn't have my 200 cut yet. I only had my 100 cut. Then I got it and then I went 101 and I was like, what? Like, I haven't been training. So I was super stoked. And then trials, I had a decent 200. And then the 100 just wasn't really like, I think I was really tired. I've never done 3 events. I've only swam 100 and 200. So I think it was a 50 and back to back. I wasn't really used to that. So I knew the 100 could be better. So going into nationals, I think the goal was just to, my bigger goal for the summer was kind of like Junior Pan Pacs. Nationals wasn't really my taper meet or anything. I was just trying to see what I could go, but I was training really hard and I was training really well. So I was like, okay, I think I can put something down. So in the morning I was like, I broke the national record. So I was like, okay, can't be too mad. Like David Marsh was like, okay, I don't want to see a smile on your face. Like, come on, don't be so sad. But I knew I had more. And then I think that afternoon, Michael, he didn't have a place to stay. I think he had to move hotels or whatever. So he came over to take a nap and he was like, I think he was talking to one of his friends. He was like, this kid beat me in the morning, but you're not going to beat me at night. And I was like, okay, just a little playful trash talk. And I wasn't really sure. I mean, at night I was like, it'd be pretty cool. And if this is the one time I'm going to beat MA, this is the time to do it. And then, at night we were just having fun, in the ready room, all the other guys trying to get focused and I'm just laughing and smiling and talking with Michael. We're joking around. And then I guess it just happened, but yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember what Michael went. Do you remember what he went in that final?
Yeah, I think he went 008, if I'm not wrong, 007 or 009. Yeah. Okay. Matt was on me. Matt was really close. I think Matt was 005. He was coming in. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were 003 in that final, and then moving forward, how do you feel like you transitioned from that meet to Junior Pan Pacs, where you went on to get third in both the 100 and 200 breast?
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I definitely wanted to, go under a minute at Junior Pan Pacs. So over those, I think it was a 2-week period or 2 or 3 week period. And I think all I could think about was going under a minute, and that just kind of got to my head like while I was training and everything. Like normally I'm pretty relaxed, but like, and then we did like a really long because before nationals I didn't really do like much of a taper. It was like 3 days or something, and like we had hit it really hard before. So I knew I was like in shape, and I'm the kind of swimmer like if I taper for like too long or whatever, I'm like, I don't think I'm in shape. So we like, I mean, I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was definitely like less and like not as intense. So I didn't feel like, I don't know. I think I just wasn't in the right like mental headspace at Junior Pan Packs. Um, I think my 200 was okay. I mean, it was a really fun race. But yeah, I don't know. My 100 didn't really go to plan, but I know like why, like just like over swimming it and everything. So yeah, just some things to work on.
Yeah. And then something we didn't mention is that you actually went to world championships this summer as well,
Yeah.
and swam the 50 breast. Can you tell us about how that, like what the qualification process for that was, and just how the experience getting to be at such a high level meet was for you?
Yeah, I was like super fortunate to have that opportunity because like I think like, even like 6 months before I was like, man, if I even make junior worlds, like this is gonna be like sick. And then if you had told me 6 months later I'd be at worlds, I was like, no way. But I think the times came out, and back then I don't think my 100 and 200, I didn't think I could like even go 215 in the 200 or anything. So I wasn't really super sure. But I texted my coach. Yeah, because in Singapore there's another guy named Max, and at that time his 200 and 100 were a lot faster. His 50 was the only thing that I was kind of close to, so I texted one of the Singapore coaches, Sonia. I was like, hey, like he goes 28.4 and the time's 28.2 if I get it. I was like, this looks doable. So I was like, I don't know, because I'm like a pretty small, like I'm pretty light. And so like for me to swim the 50, you would think I'd be swimming like the 200 or something, but like for me swimming like a big man's race, like I did not think I'd be swimming the 50. So at trials, so with Singapore, if you get an A cut, then I mean you automatically get to go, and there's two spots. So even if there's another guy that has an A cut, then it doesn't mean if you get a B cut you can't go, but you have to get a B cut, and only one guy with a B cut can go. So I had to like beat the other guy on the Singapore Team Max in the 50, and get the B cut. And I think in the first day was the 200. I got kind of close to him, but he ended up going a lot faster. He had a meet like a month after, so I had to wait that whole time. So that whole time I was like, I think it was like 2 weeks after or something. But I swam the 200, and then I didn't get the cut, or I got the B cut, but he was still faster. And then the next day I swam the 50, and in the morning I got the like exact cut. So the cut was 28.29, and I had like 28.29 written up everywhere. And then I went exactly 28.29, and I was like freaking out. So I was like, okay, maybe, but I have to wait. And then the 100, I think I got his exact time. So we were tied, and then our second times, mine was like 0.1 faster, but he ended up going faster. But that whole like 2 weeks, I don't think I could sleep like during like his race. Like I would wake up at like 4 a.m. and like without an alarm, my body would just wake up at 4 a.m. and I'd be like, oh, I can watch the live stream. And then I watched it, and then got the text at like 4 a.m. I was like, oh my God, I can finally rest now. So that's kind of how the qualification went down. Yeah, it was pretty exciting.
When you say trials, do you mean Singapore trials or US trials?
US trials. Yeah. So
Okay.
before that, I wasn't sure because I hadn't represented either yet. And like all the US guys are so quick, I didn't know if I had like any shot at all. So going into that meet, I wasn't sure. I knew I was going to use it like as a qualification meet because there weren't any like big qualification long course meets that would like be official either because they have to be FINA approved. So I was going to use that, but I really wasn't sure at that point. But I think the opportunity of like going to Worlds, at 16 was like I couldn't like turn that down, and Singapore has like kind of always been home, so that's how I made that decision. But yeah.
Were you eligible to represent the US?
Yeah, so I hadn't represented Singapore at any meets yet. So yeah, I was. I mean, I am a U.S. citizen. I have like a U.S. passport, but my dad's from the US, so yeah.
Do you think that's something you'll consider in the future? Do you think Singapore is kind of the way you're going to go now?
I think Singapore is like the way I'm gonna go now. Yeah. I think just with like trials and everything, like getting top two is like at like one specific moment, you could train like 10 years of your life and then say like you slip on the block at trials and then you get third. It's like, oh man, but Singapore, like once March comes around, there's a lot less people obviously, so it's a lot less competitive. I mean, I still have to get A cuts because there are some guys with A cuts, so it's not easy. But yeah, like starting in March at any FINA approved meet, if I get the cut, then I'm not gonna say I'm like guaranteed, but like it's yeah, I have a lot higher chance. So, yeah.
For sure. What is the A cut in the 100 breast?
I think it's 59.49. Yeah, so yeah,
All right.
yeah.
What do you know what it is in the 200?
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know, it might be 209.6 or 209.7. Yeah, that's pretty quick as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've certainly got time, and you've got a little room to improve there. But okay. So let's get into your background, because I don't even know this. Were you born in Singapore, or were you born in the US?
Yeah, I was actually born in Singapore. So my dad's from the US. He grew up there, grew up here. My mom's from Singapore and I was born there. I lived there until I was 6. And then my dad kind of wanted us to grow up in the US in California. So we ended up moving to his hometown. I don't know if you've heard Marin County before. It's like I tell everyone it's across San Francisco, where everyone takes photos up on that hill. Everyone's done that. So if you've been to San Francisco. So yeah, I grew up there. Up until last year, around September, yeah, we moved down to San Diego. But yeah, I grew up there. I've always had like dual citizenship. So yeah.
And so you're relatively a newcomer to swimming, but not to the water. You played water polo from age 8 to 15, and you weren't swimming at all from ages 12 to 14. You were on the Singapore junior national water polo team at ages 13 and 14. So what got you into water polo initially?
So I was like actually kind of like always a swimmer. Like I used to consider, like when I was younger, I think my parents, they aren't swimmers, so they just wanted me to learn for like water safety. So for like, I think I was like 5 or something, I started swim lessons, but like I just remember like hating it because like, I mean, I had one coach and I love him now, but when I was younger, he was just so strict and like, you're a little skinny kid in the cold water and you're just getting screamed at and like having to do like hard things. And you're like, what is this? Like, this is not,
I think we
like,
can all relate.
yeah. So like, I mean, some people just love the water, but like, and I like the water, but I just didn't like swimming. And then when I was 6, I joined a club team up in Northern California called North Bay Aquatics. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. But yeah, so I started swimming there for 2 years. And then when I was 8, one of my swim friends, he introduced me to water polo. He was like, dude, I think it was like my 8th birthday. He was like, you gotta check this out, dude. Like it was just like in the other pool, like literally like a minute, like, just pools next to each other. After swim, he was like, dude, I've been doing this. You gotta try it. And I like loved it. It was like all of a sudden you get a ball and you can breathe and like you can talk. It was awesome. You got a whole game, you got like a goal. So I think I just like started loving that part of like, because I think when you're younger, like relays, it's not really like, like a real team thing. It's just kind of like, we're also like young and small. Like you don't really like know what that all is, but with like water polo, you can kind of see like the whole team part of it. And I think I really just enjoyed that. So yeah,
When you play water polo at age 8, do they use smaller balls?
Yeah. So like
Okay.
as you like 8 and under, there's like a little one, and then as you go up, yeah, and then once you're 14, I think you always, or once you're 16, then once you turn 15, you like always use the same size.
Okay.
But yeah, the little 8-year-olds aren't using it. Like, it'd be way too big.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I think I like from that point on, I was like, okay, this is like what I want to do. You know, I want to play like all. And my parents like kept me in swimming, which I'm like grateful for because it just made me like a better water polo player. You know, I think a lot of the guys like couldn't swim as fast or anything. You know, just because like they were only playing water polo and we were still swimming like 4 or 5 times a week. So I've been doing like doubles, you know, since I was like a little kid. But I don't think I really like. I was the type of kid that would look at the clock and be like, you know, when like count down the minutes, and it would just feel like eternity. And okay, I get to go to water polo, like, you know. But there were like a lot of like late nights and stuff for me, you know, like at that age. Like I feel like it was quite a lot, but it was really fun. Um, and so yeah, I think I did that, both water polo and swimming. You know, like I mean, I would prioritize water polo. Like if there was far westerns or like Junior Olympics water polo, I'd, you know, go to Junior Olympics. You know, it was always kind of the priority, and I always wanted to play water polo in college. So I was like, oh, like something I just love to do. And then once I was 12, my parents, they wanted to like travel a bunch and just like show us the world and like learn through that way. So they pulled us, my brother and I, out of school to be homeschooled. So during that time, we just like traveled a bunch and like, you know, now like I'd be worried if I was out of the water at all. But like, you know, for like 1 or 2 days, I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna lose water feel. But way back, I was like, you know, I don't get to play water polo, but I don't have to swim. So I was like, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good deal. You know,
Yeah.
like nice, you know. So I mean, we weren't even counting. It was like out of the water for like, you know, 3 or 4 months, then hop in. But we were mainly in Singapore at that time. I think I came back one summer when I was 13 to do like a summer of swimming and water polo. So I think there was one meet I did. You know, just I don't know why, but I did one meet in between then. So I was still kind of swimming, but I definitely wasn't thinking of it as like training or anything, or like, you know, I wasn't very like serious at all. It was just for water polo. Everything was like for water polo. So yeah, in Singapore, then I was only like in Singapore, I would never swim. I would only play water polo, and that was pretty intense. That was like, we had a ton of practices. But I got invited to play on the junior national team. Their facilities are like incredible. So it was just a great experience. And I loved it. And then when I was 14, I don't really remember what like prompted the change, but I think I just wanted to go back to California. So I went back first with my dad. And then right when that happened, like pretty much I just turned 14, and then like a few months later, COVID happened. So when I got back before COVID happened, I was still doing water polo and swimming, doing both, but like the focus was just water polo. Um, and then, yeah, so COVID like stopped everything, especially in California. They were pretty strict with everything. So we were like, you know, out of the water for 2, 3 months. And then during that time, um, yeah, I started like running. Like I hate running, but like I just would run. I had so much energy to just run out the door and then, you know, start working out and everything. And then the only thing that came back first was like swimming, because, you know, water polo is contact. So this was like kind of how it all happened. So like swimming came back, and this time I could like only swim, you know, I couldn't do both. So this is like the first time I was like solely swimming. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the only place we could train to was like Nathan Adrian's new club. I don't know if you've like seen
Yeah.
that.
The
So
AC club, right?
yeah, the AC club. Yeah. So that whole summer we were training at the AC club. And Katie McLaughlin, she like joined the coaching staff. So I just had like all these like Olympians. I mean, Katie wasn't an Olympian then, but you know, she was still a like super fast swimmer. Like everyone knew who she was. But I think because I've never really like met like pro swimmers or anything, I think I was kind of inspired just seeing Nathan. I was like, oh my God, you know, that's like Nathan Adrian. We're like swimming in his pool. So I think that was like a little inspiring, you know, kind of like, because before I started playing water polo, I think I wanted to like be like an Olympic swimmer. I think that was kind of always the dream. But yeah, so I saw Nathan, and then Katie started coaching us, and then I think I kind of just like started to like it a little more, you know, a little inspired by that. Um, and so yeah, I think over those like few months where I was just swimming, I got like a little better at it because I was like only swimming, and I started to like try a little harder and stuff like that. And then eventually polo came back, so it was like back to doing both. Um, but like I think we had like one meet, and I just liked it so much more for some reason. I think I just really started to like appreciate the like process of like training and then watching yourself get faster. I think I finally like saw that in swimming, which I'd like never seen before. It was always just like, you just jump in a pool and like you go this time and like what does it even mean? And all these parents are screaming and you just have like no idea, like why you're doing that. I don't know. I just wasn't really sure like why people enjoyed swimming so much. And then I started to like realize, like, oh, I kind of like this. But I was still doing water polo. And then I think the big change was like this one boy, his name's Mari. He joined our team and like we just became like, I don't think I've really had like a best friend, and like we just like clicked instantly and we were like best friends. Like we could like talk for like nonstop. And I don't think that really like helped, but like we're super competitive. Like we're extremely competitive against each other. And so like in practice, like this is like the first time I would be like competing in practice, because I never really got like, why are you trying to beat people in practice? Like just like chill. But like we would just go at it. And I think that month I dropped like 8 seconds in my like, or 7 seconds in my 200-yard breast. And I was like, damn, like, like, cause we were just going at it like so hard each day. We just like fight each other. And like, he really like prompted, I don't know, he just brought something like out of me that like, I didn't know I had, like, and we just brought like the best out of each other. And it was just really like healthy. I mean, our coach didn't appreciate it too much because we were probably talking a lot. But yeah, I mean, I think I just really started to enjoy like, going to practice and everything like that. So I started training a lot harder and I was, having some pretty significant yard time drops. And then I went to my first long course meet. And I knew like I was always better at long course because when I was younger, like I would never like do anything at short course meet, but at long course meets I would actually do okay. So I was like, oh, maybe I still have it. I don't know, but I like barely got the cut for this one. I like had to like email the woman like a week before. I was like, hey, I just got the cut. Like, please, like, really, it was like some spring cup. I was like, I just got it. Like, like we got the hotel. Like, can we like get in? My coach told me we couldn't get in, and then like I emailed her. I was like, please, I begged to get in the meet. And then I ended up like, for me at the time, like 219, it was like my first, and we didn't even really, we trained in like a 40-meter pool or something. And we trained like once a week or something. So for me, like 219, I was like, oh my God, that's like pretty close to a trials cut. So that was kind of the switch. So I think after that day, I had a talk with my water polo coach. And that was pretty much the end. I was like, I've like, this is something I really want to do. I'm really close to a trials cut now. Like I'm going to stop playing water polo, which was a big deal because like I always thought I was going to be a water polo player. Yeah. And so from that point on, I was like only swimming. And then over those few months, I was getting a little faster. And then my dad got like a job opportunity in San Diego. And, we heard of like David Marsh. And so I think we were looking like at all his like everything he's done. And my dad was like, dude, like, oh my God. Like he just like kept scrolling and he was like, man, like this guy's good. So we moved out, like, yeah, my parents were like extremely supportive because they saw, like how bad I wanted it. So I'm super lucky to have like, that. But yeah, so we moved down to San Diego last year. And then that's just kind of how I like ended up in San Diego. But yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for that synopsis. I mean, that kind of paints the picture. No, that paints the picture of just your background, your aquatic background, certainly of both water polo and swimming, and kind of how it explains how you've kind of burst onto the scene in these last 18 months. And, like you said, coming from a 106 100-yard breast, 102 100-yard breast, 106 100-meter breast to, what you are now. Are you 55 in the 100-yard breaststroke?
That needs some work. I mean, like our focus has been all long course. I think I've swam long course like 100 breast probably like 20 times. I don't know exact number, but like swam the short course this year like twice or something. Yeah, we just haven't like the whole focus has been like trying to get those A cuts. So
sure.
I think we'll see some short course in the future. But for now, that's like we're trying to get the A cut and then work on the walls. work on the
which,
pull-ups. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, and again, that makes sense. So, so right now for you, what does a normal training week look like?
Yeah. So I train Monday through Saturday, and Tuesday, Thursdays are doubles. Usually it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours. If I have doubles, it'll be like shorter. Keep it at like 3.5 hours max. But yeah, usually like Monday, Wednesday, Fridays are like some kind of power or like stations, like bands, running dives, and a little bit of aerobic work. I mean, right now it's like all aerobic work, but like when I get into it, it's like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we'll do that. And then Tuesdays and Thursday mornings are like the most important part of the week because those are like the fast, like quality, like long, like 2,000 meter breaststroke. Not okay, like maybe like 1,000, 500,000. It depends. It can range from like 600. I think we did like 1,800 before nationals of like just sprint, not like all, but like pretty much sprint. Like you're just dying. But those are like the hard, like long course mornings. Um, yeah, and then Saturday, do like hard short course stuff, and then Wednesdays are kind of recovery ish with the stations. And then for like outside of the pool, I don't lift at all. I pretty much just like stretch and do like a little bit of core. But yeah, I'm pretty much just stretching like Monday through Sunday. I stretch every day. Like I feel like that's really made a big difference. I think from
Ooh,
like, that.
when did you start that?
So I always used to just like we never really I mean, I guess we had a team dryland before, but like ever since I like transitioned to swimming, I would just do my own workouts at home and just do as many pull-ups and do as many push-ups and like all this like wasn't I was just trying to be sore. I don't know. I like didn't have a real program or anything, I would just like grind like just whatever I could to like just push myself. And I don't know. I think that was like good to a certain point. But I think it was like not the smartest thing either because I would just show up to practice like wrecked, like blisters all over my hands. It's just like so sore I can't even swim. And so I think I got like a little smarter now. Now I have a instructor. Like we do like virtual um lessons for just like stretching and like explosive stuff. A little bit of like body weight stuff. But I think in that was like the biggest change. I think from like going from April to nationals, like trials 1017 to nationals, like dropping like a second and a half. I think just like feeling good for me, I don't know, just feeling good at every practice. Like, cause I would show up to every practice like sore. I think once I started like feeling good and I never used to like even stretch before I got in. I would just, do like 2 leg swings and like do 2 arm swings and then just like hop in, like even at meets, I don't think I would do any activation or I didn't even know what that was. I think, and during my world's training trip, um, one of my buddies, Tiong, he's super fast flyer. He actually got top 8 at Worlds, which was crazy. But he kind of showed me like the ropes of like what it's like to be a professional. I think like when I joined Team Elite, I think there weren't really any pros. And then I think in January, once I started training, I switched like from Joey to Javi, the 2 coaches. And one of the pros, I don't know if you heard of Linnea Mack. I'm sure you have. She was at doing the pool.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, she started training, and that was like kind of the first time I had to like train with a pro. So I saw that, like, all the like professional, how much more professional she was, and like tried to like learn from that. But I don't think I like fully understood it until I was like living with like a professional at the training camp, and then I could really see, like he's like eating after workouts. This is like all new stuff to me. Like shakes right after workouts, like to recover and like all the things they do for recovery. I learned like all these new things. So I think that trip and like activation, like they would spend like the whole Singapore team would spend like 20 minutes before like just I was like what like normally I just do a leg swing and hop in, but I think and once I got back and like got myself like a whole stretching program and everything, it's just been part of like my everyday like swimming. You know, like now I can't swim without stretching. Like I feel terrible. So I have to stretch like before every practice. But yeah.
Once again, great insight. I love hearing about different swimmers' routines and again your weekly training. So I've got some rapid fire questions from Instagram to finish up this pod. First off, in terms, we're talking about stretching before you get in. You swim breaststroke. Breaststroke's weird, right? What for you? What is one key thing when you're trying to get into the zone for breaststroke, when you're trying to get your stroke to feel right? What do you need to click, or what do you try to focus on for your breaststroke to go right?
Yeah, so I don't know, like some people have seen this at meets, but I carry around like the Lufas as a parachute. And this is like the biggest thing for me. Like everyone always walks by and like, what's that? Like that's supposed to go in the shower. But I learned it from Tom Rushton. He was out here with some of his swimmers, and he said that Siobhan, sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, I think it's Siobhan. She like loves using, he just says her corners are so much better when she's like pulling with the loofahs as a parachute. And the difference is like they float. Normally like a parachute like kind of sinks, but because the loofahs like float, it just helps with your body line. So I do like a 600 of like just like sculling, not in a row, but a 600 of like mixed stuff with paddles and like drills with the loofahs. And I just feel like that really helps me like get ready for my race. But yeah.
Nice. That's a great answer. All right, that's next.
Long answer.
We talked about MA. MA asked himself on Instagram, what is it like to be neighbors with Michael Andrew?
I was trying to have him. I was like, dude, you should pop in on the pod. Like, I mean, he's literally like a minute away. I don't know if he's training or anything. I was trying to get him on. But it's great. Honestly, I mean, I think it's like kind of crazy how like when I moved down, of like all the places I could have moved to, and this wasn't planned or anything. Like I moved here like a week before Michael got here, and like I had no idea. And I was like, dude, what are the chances? Like, like I'd always like watch his vlogs and stuff, and I was like, this guy's so cool. Like, so like I was like, no way, like this guy's my neighbor. And so I, I see him at the pool like almost every day. Like he's always he's training so much. He's always like, there's only like so many pools on Coronado. So, I mean, I see the guy all the time. And on Sundays, we'll do like volleyball. Michael will have like a bunch of friends or like anyone who wants to join on Sunday. Yeah, we'll all play volleyball and then have like a barbecue at night. So it's really nice, like a get together every Sunday. And I really don't think like I have to like thank Michael, because I don't think without like having him around as like kind of a mentor, and even his dad, like I don't think I would be swimming like the times I would be without him, because like just having him at meets and like helping me calm down, or just like, because I mean, other than like Katie and Nathan, I didn't really know any like high profile like pros or anything. So, I would kind of look at like these fast swimmers as like not like human being, and I think having Michael around just kind of helped me realize that like, we pretty much like live like the same life. Like Michael's not riding around in a limo, he's not like flying private jets. Like Michael still flies in the same seat that I do. Like, there's nothing like that crazy, it's not like that extravagant, and like he's just a normal human being. And I think just me like realizing that, and like, because going to nationals, like you see guys like Max McHugh or like Dylan Hillis, they're like massive, like I was like 140 pounds at 145 pounds at nationals, and these guys are like 230, I don't know, 250. Like these guys are massive, so like just like knowing that, oh, I did these 25s next to Michael, and like I kind of got him, so like, I mean, I'll just hop in like while he's like dying and like someone 25 or something, like I got MA. But just having him, and just like he's the nicest guy ever, like at meets and stuff, like he'll just like anything I need, and like seeing him at all these international meets and like not in Coronado is also really cool. At Worlds, like we got to like meet up there, and it was like just really fun. So like it's really great, like just having him as a neighbor, and like it definitely like has helped me like become the swimmer that I am. Yeah.
All right. So follow up to that. Is
Mhm.
it true MA destroys you at beach volleyball?
Yes, I'm not 6'6", so he does. Yeah. I don't know about the surfing question though. I mean, I've been surfing too much because I've been so focused on swimming, but I don't know. Michael's kind of a kook, you know. I'm kidding, but
If you
yeah.
don't know, Michael submitted all of these questions, so that's why they're so pointed. Okay, I've got a couple quick ones. You have a fishing YouTube channel,
Yeah,
right?
how did you find that? Yes. Oh no.
Spill the beans. Wow, how did this come to
Yeah,
be?
so this was during COVID. I didn't really have much going on, and I love fishing. Like huge fisherman, like I'll go out like whenever I can. I mean, we've always lived around the water, so fishing, like I love fishing, surfing, like anything water. Like I'm just like, but yeah, I love fishing. So, and I love like filming and taking photos and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, why not? Like I've always wanted to, like, you know. So yeah, I just like started making my own videos. I think pumped out like 60 videos or something during that time. Like even had like a sponsor for a while. It was pretty cool, but I don't know. I just like been so tired and busy with swimming. It's been like hard, so I haven't made any videos. But if that's something people want to see again, maybe.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, you could send Nick a DM if you want to see more fishing videos. You could check them out at Fishing Angamo. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, it means like foreigner in Singapore. Like since I don't sound like local, like everyone calls me that in Singapore, so that's where the name comes from. But
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay. That's Fishing Angmo, Angmoh. If you want to check Nick's fishing YouTube channel out. All right. We got 2 minutes. Last question. The NCAA, man. I know you just went on a recruiting trip to Texas. What are you thinking about the NCAA system as a whole so far?
I mean, I'm like definitely interested. I mean, it just looks so fun. You know, most of these long course meets I go to like by myself, and I think at juniors I swam like my first relay, like real relay with the guys. I swam a relay at Worlds. But yeah, at juniors we were in the last heat, and they already like posted that the other guys won, and I was like, what? And like they already uploaded the video. I was like, what? But I don't know. We weren't even sure we were gonna do the relay, and then one of the guys showed up, and like that was honestly one of the like I think that was the best moment of like all the swims I've ever had. Like just like doing that with my teammates, and like, you know, breaking the meet record in the NAG, getting first, and we weren't even gonna do it, and it was just like awesome. But so yeah, I definitely like would want to experience that more. And the NCAA seems like a perfect place for that. But yeah.
So you're in the recruiting process now. So can you tell me about that experience and all in 30 seconds?
Yeah, I mean it's been fun. I really enjoy like talking to, you know, just like having this experience of like, you know, and having the opportunity to get to talk to all these like amazing, like just meeting so many people and like getting to like experience all these like experiences, you know, visiting. Like I'll never get to do this again, so it's just like really fun. I mean, it's a little stressful, but yeah, I've been enjoying it. Yeah.
You took a trip to Texas. Do you have other trips planned so far?
Yeah, I have Cal, Stanford, and then Princeton and UNC. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, we're about to run out of time, but Nick, thank you so much for joining the pod. It was great talking to you today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.